Hello out there. So, question for you. So, have you ever asked yourself, well, how can I find joy when there are so many challenges going on in my life? Or another one might be, how can I find joy when there's so many challenges going on in the world? How can I find joy when sometimes my life sucks? So, that sometimes is a reality, right? We all have challenges and things that come up in our lives that lead us to wonder, how am I ever going to experience any joy in my life? Well, I'm Reverend Lisa, and I'm a spiritual coach, and I am here to help you figure that out. I am here to help you connect with your inner dazzle. It is that innermost part of yourself that is truly connected at your very heart, that is spiritually connected, that is experiencing peace and harmony and love and living an authentic life. That is your inner dazzle, and I'm here to help you connect with that. So the question is, so how do I have the right to be joyful when there are so many challenges and bad things going on in the world, right? So the idea that I've discovered is that we need to learn how to shift our perspective. And yes, we don't want to take away from the fact that there are challenges and sometimes some really awful things going on in the world. And we do acknowledge that, and we send love to those events and those things. But the truth is that we really need to figure out a way to look at ourselves and look at our lives in a different perspective. So I want you to know that you have the power within you to realize that your joyful life comes from how you view things, how you decide to live regardless of the events that have occurred in your life. The idea is that we want to take a step back, and just be present and back up and recognize and know that you can be an observer in your life rather than just being stuck in the middle and dealing with all the chaos. Recognize that you can take that step back and see that there is beauty and there is joy in your life. So one of the things I wanted to talk about, just a review from last week, we're talking about Joyful in June. We talked about the idea of experiencing joy is in the little things in our lives. So those little things might be something as simple as a great cup of coffee in the morning. It could be little things that maybe something really cute or sweet that one of your children said, or that your husband or your wife or your partner said. And it could be just looking out at a beautiful sunrise, or just sitting there and being happy and peaceful with the fur baby, with the pet. Looking at the little things, the simple things. That's what we want to begin to create a new awareness where we are acknowledging and recognizing what's going on around us and taking that time to bring ourselves down to just center into the moment. The idea is that we want to just center ourselves into that moment. So one of the other things about being joyful that we found that I've discovered is being grateful. So we want to talk about the idea of gratitude. So the thing is, this is great. I love this. So did you know with gratitude that it shields you from negativity? It makes you at least 25% happier. It rewires your brain. Oh my gosh, that's so great. It eliminates stress when you experience and feel gratitude. It also is healing. It improves sleep, having gratitude. It boosts your self-esteem and performance in your life. It enhances the law of attraction, which we all can use more of. And it improves relationships. Some most beautiful, beautiful things that you can experience by connecting and recognizing the gratitude and being grateful for things in your life. The other thing that's really fantastic, where did I set it? Is a gratitude journal. Oh, I found it. I was writing in it, so I set it over here. Gratitude journal. Definitely go out and get one of these, and I want you to write down 5 things that you are grateful for. If we start doing that every day, you will notice that you have more good stuff coming in your life. So don't forget to get your gratitude journal. Super important. So one of the other things that I began to recognize was, well, what are some other ways that I feel joyful? Well, another way is to experience a wonderful vacation. And what I've discovered is that I have to book and schedule my vacations like 6 months out or a year. And if you book it and you set that date, then it will just happen. It will come. You'll attract the money. You'll attract everything that you need, the time off, so that you can experience a beautiful time, a beautiful vacation. So I just got back from a beautiful vacation with my my lovely daughter, Abigail, and we experienced all kinds of joy. There was all kinds of joyful things. So I want to show you few things that brought me joy. So this is my most beautiful plumeria flower. This is one of their beautiful flowers, and it just smells. This one is not a real one, but they just have the most beautiful scent. And so I made an effort on this trip specifically was to, I've said in past shows, stop and smell the roses, but here it was stop and smell the plumerias. So I took time to smell the plumeria, and I just found a lot of joy in this sweet little simple flower. Another thing that brings me joy, I bought this cute little liquid aloha. So Kona Brewing Company, they make a beer that is a Hefeweizen, and it has a hint of banana at the end of it. And I have to say, I went with my friends, and it was such a joyful time. It was just really a beautiful experience. And then one of my last favorite things is these lovely macadamia nuts. These bring me joy. I brought some back, and so now I can have that joy from Hawaii here. So beautiful ways to experience joy. Another way that I experienced joy was when we came back from our trip. We got to visit one of our friends, and I got to see and hold her beautiful baby. So we have a picture here of Abigail and my daughter and I, and we got to take turns holding this beautiful little baby. He's like 2 months old. And oh my goodness, he's just such a little ball of sweetness and ball of joy. So that, of course, can't go wrong with holding a brand new little baby, a precious little baby. That brought me lots of joy. So I invite you to take a look around at all the things that are going on in your life and think of some ways that you can begin to experience joy and be mindful about it. The idea is that you want to create more mindfulness in your life. Joyfulness in June. We talked about mindfulness in May. What our whole life in ways we can experience more joy is by being mindful about it. So I have a tip. So my tip number 1 for you is to take time to experience a 1-minute pause. 1-minute pause during the day. Can't go wrong with that. And the way that you want to do that is you want to connect with me on Facebook, and you're probably connected with me on Facebook. So you'll see my 1-minute pause that come up. And I also am connected with YouTube, of course. So go to my YouTube, my Inner Dazzle YouTube channel, Inner Dazzle LLC on YouTube. Go there and subscribe to Inner Dazzle LLC so that you can get more 1-minute pause for your day. We also have on there our wonderful 15-minute prayers, and these shows are on there, all kinds of wonderful tools for you. So enjoy a 1-minute pause during the day. It's beautiful. It brings your focus right back into the moment. Another way you can experience joy is through movement of your body. So we want to experience yoga. I don't know if you've ever tried it, but it really is a great experience. Walking is great. Hiking is great. And then I wrote NIA. I don't know if any of you are familiar with NIA, but it's Neuro Integrated Action. And it's a beautiful dance movement, kind of a free movement, but it is led. And it's got some really beautiful spiritual music, and you do breath work, and it's an amazing experience. So you can look it up, Google it, NIA. It's a great dance movement. Beautiful. So there's some great ways. And then, of course, the third one is to learn something new. You can always learn something new, right? I always make that definitely an intention to learn something new every day. We can always put new stuff in our brain, right? Okay, so we're moving on to our quote 1, and this is the definition of joy. The definition of joy, and this is really cool. I like this. So when I looked up the definition of joy, it tells me this. The passion of emotion, it's excited by the acquisition of expectation of good. And I love that because that was like looking at and thinking about that perspective again. It's like, what is our perspective in life? Are we going with the glass half empty or half full? So if we can have the expectation of good, that shifts our awareness and shifts us into attracting more good in our lives. So number 2 in the definition of joy is rational prospect of possessing what we love or desire. And of course, that is just says what it is. It's definitely attaining beautiful things that we love and we enjoy. It's just experiencing that. you know, what more can I say about that one? And then the third one is gladness and exultation, exhilaration of spirits. And I like that. I think that's just, again, another one that just says it all, gladness and exultation. So we can always have more exultation in our lives about what's going on in our day, about something wonderful that somebody in our family has done or said. There's always a chance to express more love in the world, right? So I had this come up for me too, though. It was in the idea of saying, well, you know, how can I experience that much joy? I had somebody say this to me. Well, how can I be joyful when there's all these bad things going on in the world? You know, how am I supposed to be joyful? You know, I've been through a lot of pain in my life. This person told me, I've just had a lot of pain and adversity. So why am I going to be joyful? And then I was looking up I looked up an article, and it was in the Dalai Lama's Book of Joy. And he refers to a story that when he was working with some people, and they expressed the idea that he says that this refers to a story that a lottery winner was not significantly happier than those who had been paralyzed in an accident. And I just thought, wow. Yeah, there again, it's perspective, you know, it's perspective of where we are and how we're experiencing life, and that money doesn't always bring happiness and joy, and that even tragic situations and accidents can bring joy, and you can find a way to shift into a whole new way of being through that experience. So we just got to remember and trust in that higher power that everything is unfolding as it should be, with the good and the bad and the ugly. So I have for you, the next tip I have is about perspective again. And I really want to focus on that today, that word perspective. And the idea is to think about joy versus happiness. So what we came up with is that joy is a lasting state of being, and that you can have a sense of joy no matter what your challenges are. Whereas happiness, we kind of think of is that it comes through you. It comes through external stimulus, like it comes and goes. So, you know, it's definitely something that you can begin to think of and be aware of how you are acting and how you are responding to these two different ways. In the perspective, are we being joyful? And that's just coming from your core, or are we just happy at the moment because we got this new car or something? Just think about how that works in your lives. So I have one more little quote I wanted to share. This one is by Albert Einstein. And he says, there are two ways to live your life. One is though nothing is a miracle, and the other is that everything is a miracle. Oh, I just love that. I thought that was beautifully well said Albert Einstein. All right, so now we're going to share a little video with you, and then I have a special guest coming up, so stay with us. So we're going to watch a little Oprah video.
Hey goal getters, I put this video together as a bonus to the 4-part series on using positive psychology theory to increase success and happiness. This channel is dedicated to setting and achieving your goals. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so that way you're notified anytime new strategies are released. And without further ado, let me share the Oprah Winfrey interviews on the power of happiness and joy for success.
I remember once, and it was like I'm going to call it a flash of clairvoyance now. Obviously, if it hadn't come true, it would just be some random crazy thought I'd had. But I do remember one day, writing Philosopher's Stone, I was walking away from the cafe where I'd been working, and I had this moment where I suddenly thought, it was like another voice speaking to me, and the voice said, the difficult thing's going to be to get published. If it's published, it will be huge.
Wow.
And that is exactly what it was.
So there was some hint that the voice had said to you.
Well, the thing is, you've got to believe, haven't you?
Yes.
You know, I was not the world's most secure person. I wasn't someone with an enormous amount of, in fact, I'd say I was someone with not much self-belief at all. And yet in this one thing in my life, I believed. That was the one thing in my life. I felt I can tell a story.
You cannot have what you're not willing to become vibrationally.
Ah.
If you do get it, you'll lose it.
Ah.
You see, this is why people, they'll win the lottery, and they lose everything,
Yeah.
or they'll finally get the person they think they want to be with.
Absolutely.
They can't keep the relationship, or They'll get a modicum of success but can't hold on to it because inside they weren't vibrationally aligned. They really hadn't become it. So you can temporarily manipulate and get things, but to have it completely, you have to lift your vibration and become that in vibration.
I think we think of, or I thought of happiness as the big stuff. It's not the big stuff. Joy is the small stuff. So those moments of joy do not need to be some big event, and they're usually not. My coffee tasted great. This tea is actually delicious. One of my kids gave me a hug without being asked. Maybe hinted at, but not outright asked. These tiny little moments are the moments that make our lives.
We have the power to actually change the reality we see around us.
Yeah.
And one of the things we've talked about is that oftentimes we just feel like this world makes my happiness or not. Like if things are not going well, it's because of what the world is giving me. It's always about like powerlessness compared to our genes or to our chemicals or to the environment. And what we're finding is that when you do a random act of kindness, it shatters that. Because what it says is, whoa, I could actually not only change my own levels of happiness, but I could change them for other people. I'm going to start writing the social script, and I'm going to write a script that causes people to be able to choose happiness better.
It's like if you were at a restaurant and you ordered something. You fully expect it to come served that way.
Yes.
That's how the universe, you're putting out orders consciously and unconsciously.
Yes.
And expect it to come back. So if you're saying, I'll never have a great relationship, you just place an order.
There is no joy without gratitude.
No, and you know what's tricky?
But
As someone who studies shame and scarcity and fear, I will tell you that if
All right. I was like, I think that's the part I wanted to show you. So that's some great little snippets from some really amazing people talking about the idea behind joy and happiness and the difference between and how we can tap into that and experience it every day. That's the whole idea, is that we want to experience joy and happiness every day of our lives. So now I'd like to invite my most beautiful, wonderful, she is my producer, and she also has 2 shows on New Thought Media Network. And we're so grateful to have her, Miss Gina. If you'd like to come forward, there she is. And I'm going to have her tell you a little bit about her shows. And we have an amazing workshop coming up, and we'd like to invite you to her workshop. So we have a lot of great stuff. So Gina, I'll just hand it over to you.
It's wonderful to be here, and I appreciate the topic. Joy is definitely my favorite topic. The Thursday show is The Joy is in the Journey. And it's because we don't have to wait. You know, I believe we are a society of destination happiness. That is, when I have this, then I'll be happy. Mm-hmm. When I have the right people in my life, when I have the right job, when I look the way I want to, when everything aligns. Joy is inherent. It's not about, there's nothing we need to go and get. Joy is an attribute of divine. Therefore, there is never a place where it is not. It may not be in appearance in my life. You know, I know that it's everywhere always. So when it comes to joy, it's, am I experiencing it? And if not, how do I shift my perspective? And that was the perfect word on that. Because if my glasses are dirty, I'm going to see the dirt. That doesn't mean that that's what's in the world.
Right.
And if my window is dirty, I'm going to see the dirt.
Yep. Good perspective. It's definitely, that's what I think all the, New Thought in general is all about, is creating new thoughts and new awareness about who we are and what we are and all the beautiful things in our lives and how we can create more joy and experience more happiness. And like you said, it's just, tell me a little bit more about your definition of what joy and happiness, the difference between the two. I
actually had a conversation with someone this morning about this, and I know that sounds random, but of course that's one of my, when you are in a certain mindset, you attract people who are like-minded. So of course this is something that someone would bring up, and we have this conversation in my life because it's something that I truly believe in. And one of the things that we were talking about, she believed that, she said, I strive for contentment more than joy or happiness. And I said, well, that's an interesting concept. And she said the definition of contentment includes happiness and joy. but not the other way around. So I guess that was an interesting way of looking at it, because when you think about contentment, it's that place that I have all that I need. And I know, because happiness isn't getting what we think we want, it's wanting what we have. So it's learning how to live in that place of knowing that in this moment, like you had made a comment that there's, how can I be happy when all this is wrong in the world? Is it wrong in your world right now? What is wrong in this moment? Am I allowing the darkness of nighttime to block me going out in the light now? Oh, it's going to be dark in 4 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, then come back in. So, there's one of those, sometimes we get caught up in the distractions rather than being present in the now. And if you're waiting for the other shoe to drop, one thing I can assure you is it'll drop because you're the one attracting it.
Right. Yep. Good point. Good point. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's so true. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I think, that's just what it's about is taking, like I said earlier, take a step back and really observe what am I thinking about? What am I putting out there? What am I attracting? Am I attracting good? Am I attracting contentment and happiness and peace? Or am I attracting, like you said, when we feel like, well, how could we be joyful when everything is bad in the world or I'm having challenges? Well, we just take a step back and observe from a bigger perspective.
One thing I know is my misery will not add joy to the world.
Right.
My light will. So if I'm going to maintain misery, I'm only causing the dim.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not bringing light into a darkened room and illuminating, which is what we're here to do. One light can light 1,000,000 candles and counting without ever once dimming its own. But it's not going to happen the other way around.
Right.
You can't be negative enough to make someone positive. So what are you bringing into every conversation? Who are you being in the world? And that's what we can, I call it a checkup from the neck up. If I'm not happy, it's my responsibility.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that we have to remember is that there's no one or no thing that is going to maintain my joy. It's up to me to keep my lenses clear and to keep myself on a path that's going to help me get there. I was joking with you, earlier today. I said, it's like we should write it's as if we should write a book on it.
Yeah. And I said, yeah, let's do it.
And then my joke was, yes, because I have. That's actually where my book is Your Journey to Happiness. That was the first book that I wrote, is Your Journey to Happiness. And as sketchy as the cover looks, it's because it's my path. I literally drew a path because that's what I felt that it is. Each person has their own path.
Totally.
And, that's what it's about. It's creating your way in the world. And, things are going to throw us off course.
Right.
Any given day, there's going to be stuff that happens.
Yeah.
So coming back to where it's a 10-step guide to joy.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
And the thing about it is you're not going to be off track in the same spot all the time. If I always fell off at one spot, if it was always one thing, then I could work on the one thing. But what happens? And these different things that come up. And,
Faced with a lot of things. Yeah.
Look at the past year and a half we've had.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we're at an interesting time in history where now we're coming back out into the world and hopefully appreciating everyone and everything more than we did before. And also allowing ourselves to experience what we went through. Because there was a trauma that went along with last year.
Right. That acknowledgement.
That's of the senses in every way. We've never known in this country. We've been blessed to not know what it is we never knew a lack of freedom to be able to, we never knew it. And if you had said that, people would be wearing masks, they'd laugh at you. It was like, it would be like no one would ever in a million years believe you. But not to be able to go see your elderly parents or grandparents.
That was me. Yeah.
There's so many. I saw the pictures that you posted over the weekend with your dad. That is joy.
Oh my gosh, that was pure joy. And it was, something that I just took for granted, I guess you could say, in the past. It was like, oh my gosh. And, it definitely shifted my whole perspective on, how grateful we are, how grateful I am for him. And, just that opportunity to be together. And we got to go to the cafe, which we hadn't been able to go to literally for a year. And we went. It was great because the people recognized my dad, the waitresses. And I'm like, we've been waiting. This has been a year's worth of, we've been waiting and we're finally here. And I had tears. I'm like, I am so joyful right now because something as simple as taking my dad to a cafe for breakfast was a huge thing, that was joy. That was a pure example of joy.
And that's what the gift of last year.
Yes.
That we used to take for
granted, see the gift.
If we learn from, we never have to do that again.
Yes.
We can allow the gratitude and all the gifts of gratitude to fill the places that used to seem dim. We're not waiting for anything. We're right here, right now, and everything is thankfully at our fingertips. So now what? So what do we, now what do we choose? That's what life is all about. Do I choose to look at what I have or what seems to be missing?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's all in that perspective for sure. So how can we get a copy of your book?
Actually, the book is on Amazon, Your Journey to Happiness.
It is on Amazon. And then tell us about the workshop.
This is my workshop this weekend, 10 steps to help guide you on your joyful journey. And they can reach out to me. And it's Gina at believeInYouToday.com. Again, it's Gina at believeInYouToday.com. And they can reach out to me and I can give them more information. It's both going to be for online as well as, so you could Zoom in from anywhere in the world, or you can come in person if you're in the Boston area. It's in Medford. It's in Medford, Mass. Is in person, and it's going to be probably starting about 11:15. So 11:15 Eastern Standard Time,
okay.
Which is we are worldwide here on this network, which is absolutely beautiful.
I know. We always have to remember the Mountain Standard or Eastern,
But it's really, and come visit me tomorrow on the Joys and the Journey every Thursday at
3 o'clock, right?
3 o'clock on Eastern time.
Okay.
1 o'clock on Central Time. And we talk about different things that bring you joy.
Yes.
If you want more joy in your life, pay attention to the things that bring you joy. It's that simple. And we get caught up in the distractions of life.
Mm-hmm.
And we, eventually there'll be, there's no guarantees. If there's one thing the past year taught us, there's no guarantees.
Exactly.
So, be here, right here and now.
Be here now. Yes. Amen.
Thank you for letting me talk about this wonderful topic with you. And I know you're going to be wrapping up, but thank you so much, everyone. And, have a joyful journey. Choose it.
Yeah. Yep. Choose it. Thank you, Gina. And thank you so much for being with me. I'm so glad you could come.
Love and light.
All right. Wonderful. Well, that was super fantastic. I love Gina and I have some really fabulous conversations. So I always love to do that. So if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me on my Facebook at facebook.com, spiritual resource. If you want to connect with me, you can also send me an email at my lisa@innerdazzle.com. Send me an email. And if you wanted to schedule a 20-minute time to chat, I do a free consultation. If you want to spend some time working with me, you can do that as well on the, and you can also find me on YouTube. Like I said, Inner Dazzle LLC. Go in there and subscribe so that you can get all of these great half-hour messages. I also have the 1-minute pause and our 15-minute prayer time, which we do in morning and evenings. So thank you for joining me today. And just know and recognize that our time together is a celebration of your empowerment. And I'm so grateful to help you connect with your inner dazzle. Thank you for being with me today. And we also invite you to send your gifts and your tithes to New Thought Media Network. And you can click on the link up above. You can also send gifts and tithes to me, to my personal ministry is at Venmo at RevLisa1. Thank you so much. We appreciate all of that you have to share and give, and we know that it is the law of reciprocity working in our lives. So thank you for being with me today, and I'll look forward to seeing you. We have one more week of joyfulness in June, so join us next week as we talk more about that. So thank you, and peace and blessings. Bye for now.
Wanna play? Come to our yard. New Thought Media Network spotlights you. Saturdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, Spirit Says Sing. Our stage is open for musicians, singers and speakers, visual artists. Shine with us live. It's easy, just click the link in the comments and be ready to soar. Spirit